why not check out our website at wrestlingfatherandson.weebly.com, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. Hi everyone, welcome back to Wrestling Fun with Father and Son. I'm Father Matt and this is Son.
Kai.
And this is the week that was WWE. This is Raw. Yep, this is the Raw week that was WWE review. So we'll crack into it because there's a little bit to get through. And yeah, well, we'll get through. We'll get to what we think of Raw at the very end. So Raw, 10th of the 6th, 2019. Started off with Seth Rollins coming out with a steel chair. Obviously, at Super Showdown, he attacked Brock Lesnar with the chair. He brought that chair out with him. He did a little bit of promo about that attack on Lesnar and Super Showdown. Then proceeded to bring out Baron Corbin. As we know, Baron Corbin and him have a rematch, don't they, at Stomping Ground in a couple of weeks' time. He said that there's no stipulation in that match, that it's now going to have a special guest referee that Corbin will be able to pick. Next then came out Sami Zayn. He came out, didn't he? And he said that Baron Corbin would be a better champion than Seth Rollins, and that Rollins was obsessed with Brock Lesnar. And then Seth Rollins basically said about Sami Zayn, who's got your back? And that proceeded to bring out then Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens said the exact same thing near enough, but Corbin would be a better champion than Seth Rollins. And then the sort of end of that, them sort of promos, it was then made that it would be Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens later on in the night. And then the end of that sequence was that Seth Rollins walked through them all up the ramp and that. Again, these talking sequences at the beginning of Raw, they keep dominating Raw. I think that's just a bit annoying. I wish that they would just go into some matches, then do this maybe, just to sort of get people interested, but it is what it is. It's sort of the same thing. So Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens seem to be in now in a feud with Rollins, as well as Kevin, as well as Kofi Kingston, which just spreading the talent a bit too thin. They've got so much talent on their rosters, they could use so many people, but oh well. Next it was Lars Sullivan versus the Lucha House Party in like an elimination handicap match. Again, same old thing they've done for the last month with the Lucha House Party. Lars Sullivan went and won. He got a quick win. There's not much to say about that. Next we had the first of many sequences with R-Truth and Carmella. Again, they were running with the 24/7 belt away from the sort of mid-carders. They ended up proceedingly getting into a lift, didn't they? I think R-Truth distracted the group that was following by saying, "You haven't got a ref, you haven't got a ref." They then turned round. He got on the lift with a few of them through the mid-carders. I did write down.
And one of them was Heath Slater.
Yeah, Heath Slater, EC3, Cedric Alexander, and who was the last one? It was Drake Maverick. Drake Maverick, yes, in the lift with Carmella and R-Truth.
And they were playing a game.
Yep, they were playing games and that. They were singing, what was the song? We Are Family, that's the song. They were singing that as well. So this was one of many sequences through the show. Obviously, because he didn't have a ref, they couldn't pin him, but he was sort of trying to bond with him and that. At the end, the lift did actually start working. The doors opened, they all sort of spilled out, tried to get the pin with the ones waiting outside the lift, and proceeded then for Carmella to drag R-Truth into the lift, and they escaped that way. So we had a side-by-side interview with Lacey Evans and Becky Lynch. Not much to that, to be honest. Then we had another backstage sequences with Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. Seems that this week Alexa Bliss is a heel. Again, hyping up the match that she was going to have later on with there was going to be a tag team match, but we'll get to that in a bit. Next we had Miz TV with Samoa Joe talking about Rey Mysterio, about the Money in the Bank match, how his shoulders weren't pinned, and that about how he won the title back last week, which he didn't because Rey Mysterio relinquished the title and gave it back to Samoa Joe. And then he basically said, "I don't want to talk about that, I want to talk about challenges for the title." And I proceeded to bring out Braun Strowman, Bobby Lashley. Obviously them two had a bit of a feud going forward, haven't they, for the last few weeks. Ricochet and Cesaro, and obviously Ricochet and Cesaro had a few matches and that. And they proceeded to have a 6-man tag. It was, what was it, Ricochet, Strowman and The Miz versus Bobby Lashley, Samoa Joe and Cesaro. And there was one point at that match, I think it was Strowman, he went for his slam on Samoa Joe, and Samoa Joe sort of got out of it and thought, I've had enough of this, and he took his title and went to run off. But the end of that match was Ricochet again did his, I think it's a 630 somersault spin onto Cesaro, and actually landed on Cesaro quite nastily, I thought. But the replay they show, they said he was holding his knee, but if you look at the replay, it was actually his thigh. He actually hit his thigh. The reports are he isn't injured and he's actually all right, but we'll see. But then that proceeded, obviously, Ricochet with that move, he won the match and it quickly ended it after that. So we'll have to see if Cesaro's injured. I don't think he is. The reports are saying he's not, but you never know. Hopefully he's not, because he's having some good matches with Ricochet and that, so hopefully they go forward with that. Next there was a Baron Corbin interview backstage, which quickly got ended with Sami Zayn walking in and basically talking about the special guest referee, how he should be the special guest referee at Stomping Ground. And then we got next, it was Becky Lynch and Bayley versus Lacey Evans and Alexa Bliss, with Nikki Cross at ringside. Not much to it, obviously. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross are being friends. The end of this match was a little bit of a cluster, I thought. Again, there's some sort of confusion about what is a woman's right and what's a right fist. Again, this was a bit of confusion as well. The end of that was that Lacey Evans used Nikki Cross, who was at ringside, as a sort of a shield. And then Evans did a right to Bayley as she was sort of leaning out of the ring. So yeah, Alexa Bliss went up to the top rope, which I don't understand, to do a slam. Lacey Evans got a blind tag, and then she done a woman's right to Bayley and then won it that way. I think that's right anyway. So yeah, again, keeping that feud with Lacey Evans and Becky going, it's a bit frustrating, but what can you do? Next, we had another backstage with Shane McMahon and Sami Zayn saying about the special guest referee again, and they said about basically earning it and sort of proving himself. So that Shane McMahon put Sami Zayn as a special guest referee on the outside of the Rollins versus Owens match later on in the night. Next we had Paul Heyman come down to the ring do the promo about Brock Lesnar. Next then we had the Iconics. Again, it's nice to see the Iconics back in a tag team match, but they were against some jobbers and they quickly dispatched them and kept the titles. Next we had Shane McMahon had the best in the world celebration. Obviously he beat Roman Reigns at Super Showdown. Not much to it, to be fair. They've just sort of filmed time with Shane McMahon. Just a bit of a pain, to be honest. They drank from the cup. They then brought out the Revival, and they basically said that if they wanted to come to the party, they'd have to bring gold, because obviously they had a match next. Ryder and Hawkins and the Usos for the Raw Tag Team Championships. The ending of this match was that the Usos were going up for their Uso Splash. That was Jey Uso going up for his splash. The blind tag from Scott Dawson as he was doing the splash. He sort of then landed, sort of rolled off, and Scott Dawson went into the ring, got the pin, and then the new Raw Tag Team Champions. So it was short and sweet for Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. Do I think they'll get them belts back? No, I don't. I think that's one and done. So we'll see how the Revival's reign goes as the Tag Team Champs. Next, it's the Yowie Wowie Alert section. Firefly's Funhouse. This one was each week they're getting darker and darker, I find. This one again was no exception. They got very dark in this one with Ramblin' Rabbit threatening to basically disclose all Bray Wyatt's secrets. He ended up getting malleted, big massive mallet squashed and made into some breakfast spread, I think it was. Again, very good, these sequences. The more and more I see these, the more I think that Vince is not involved. If he is involved, then why can't do the rest of Raw like this? That's it, if this is Vince McMahon's idea and he's having a big input in this, then how come Raw's not that good? It's just frustrating, but it is what it is. And then lastly, we get on to the main event, which was Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens in just a normal one-on-one match. With Sami Zayn as the special guest referee at ringside. Obviously Seth Rollins still had taped ribs from the attack from Brock Lesnar. There was like a curb stomp to Kevin Owens at one point, and Sami Zayn pulled the ref out as he was doing the count. Zayn went into the ring. Rollins puts his hands on Sami Zayn, and then it's a DQ finish. Sami Zayn called for the bell. Rollins then attacks Sami Zayn. Then Baron Corbin came down to attack Seth Rollins, and then Seth Rollins chair shot at Sami Zayn and then ripped off the ref shirt, and that was how they ended Raw. Yes, Raw this week, personally, I believe wasn't that great. I don't know about Kai, but I don't think it was that great this week. Very poor. It just seems that they're reusing the matches from Super Showdown to Stomping Ground because there's such a short gap between the two, and that they can't build up a storyline between, for them 2 weeks. So they're kind of rehashing the stories they've already got and continuing them.
And they're doing 2 Super Showdown rematches.
They are, yes. There's a lot of Super Showdown rematches, and I think there might be some more coming out in the next week or two. So yeah, that was our review of Raw. It was quite quick. I wanted to try and get through that one. It's quite difficult to get through it, but we have. So yeah, Super Showdown in a couple of weeks. We'll have to see when the schedule permits a predictions video. I 2 weeks between shows. It's just they're saturated it too much. There's too many pay-per-views and they need to sort of separate them out a bit more, but it is what it is. So anyway, if you like this video, like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video, which is the week of WWE SmackDown. So I'll say goodbye, and say goodbye, Kai.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.